an appropriate place to start would be to ask you what brought you to this story and this topic out of many possible topics. It's not an easy one, so I'm interested to hear how you arrived at this.
Yeah, thank you all for being here from a late Sunday evening. I wanted to make a film about a father-daughter relationship originally, and especially about two generations that not maybe completely understand each other, and how you say that sometimes how it is impossible to really grasp what goes on in the other person, also due to generation or age gap, and the fear of losing your loved ones before you truly try to connect. And then in the Netherlands, where I'm from, while making this film, there was more and more discussion in society about whether people who are 75 years and older should be legally allowed to take their own lives if they feel it's complete, so if they're not sick or anything. So we found that quite interesting to use as a sort of bomb on the movie that puts everything into this time frame.
Before I ask my second question, I should ask is, has the film already premiered in the Netherlands?
Yes.
What was the reaction from the community, and how did it feed into these kinds of discussions about euthanasia?
Premiered this month, September, and people really, there were positive reactions, very emotional reactions as well. A lot of people who went to the cinemas and went the second time with their father or their mother, so that was quite nice. And then on the topic of euthanasia or assisted suicide, I mean, it depends. There's some hardcore people who really have this belief that this should be possible, and there's also people who are more looking at the emotional side or the universal side of the story, so it's quite diverse actually.
Thank you. I was very taken by the ending and your decision, firstly, to show the protagonist, I can't remember her name,
Iris,
and not show the father at all in the frame as he's taking the poison or taking the drug. And then to continue to leave the camera on the curtain after she's gone over to attend to him. I thought it was fantastic, and I'm wondering where the idea came from and perhaps why you didn't show the father, because that would be, one would expect something that they would see at the end of the film.
For me, it was quite in the early stage of writing the film that we knew the film would start with the announcement during the dinner and that it ends with him taking his own life. And for us in the Netherlands, if it's tough subjects, emotional subjects, people tend to look away and not have intimate conversations. So for me as a filmmaker, it was very important that for the last scene, which is a one-taker of 14 minutes, that you are there for every second of it, so you can't look away. Like every second you're there with her experience this moment, and not looking away, or it's an inevitable end, and you're going straight into it. So that was very important for me in terms of the experience. And then also, she's the main character, and it's her roller coaster. So for me also, the end scene should be focused on her and not her dad. I think sound is 75% of your film. So staying on the curtain, hearing what is happening, and leaving it to the imagination of the audience what's exactly happening. That's quite what I like, I think, and it's their intimate moment, I think, in the end. So, yeah.
Thank you. It's fascinating. One of my favourite sequences, and one that I have the feeling many people in the audience enjoyed as well, was the bathroom sequence at the pub. I'm wondering, even bringing it up now, we get some laughs, that's always a good sign. I'm wondering how important it was for you to include some humour in a film that otherwise, from start to finish, it's fair to say is relatively bleak in its subject matter.
Yeah, I mean, it was extremely important. I think that in death brings life, I think, and also it brings a lot of awkward moments and absurdity. So that was very important for us, I think, and also we didn't want to make a film like from beginning to end that is like choking you, and it's just sad on sad on sad. I think life is ups and downs, and it's a roller coaster, and so yeah, that was very important that her reaction, or also the brother's reaction, brings some light and air to it. Then also I think the drama or the moments of pain are much more, they have more depth, I would say, if you have these moments both. And what was I going to say about that? Well, yeah, I mean, it's sort of like these moments where you don't know whether you should laugh or cry. And I feel that's with this subject matter, that's the case. And I don't know if you've been to the Netherlands to funerals, but it's quite awkward, I would say.
I haven't had the privilege.
So maybe that's also, it's just our way of dealing with death.
Mm-hmm.
That ended up being also the tone of the film.
Thank you. It's a very interesting tone of the film. I really like it. Since we've got so many people in attendance, I thought I might open up the questions to the audience now, in case anybody has a question for the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
How difficult was it to prepare the last scene, the whole take? I mean, with the actors and stuff.
Yeah, how difficult was it to make the end scene? That was quite a challenge, yeah. We knew we wanted to do it like in one run, so we were really set to do that and to have a steady camera who made that possible. So even in scouting the location of the house, it was important that you could do like a 360 round and that there was enough room to put like lights hidden on the ceilings and stuff like that. And then I think we did like 2 rehearsals without any camera, just the acting to figure out what the route would be and the dynamics of the emotions with just the main cast, and then getting then we did, I think, rehearsals with camera and crew, so they also knew the route and where to hide and where to turn, because there's like 4 people walking behind the camera at all times. And then we had 2 days of shooting, so we had 2 days to get the right shots. And we brought in that morning, I think, the extras, like the people that are at the party. So we did like 2 rehearsals, 6 shots one day, 6 the other day. Because also at one point you're losing the light and it's not possible anymore. So we were also, because I wanted the sunset, so actually you have 2 moments for the 2 days where you can have that. And then just do it, I think. And once you set to do this long take, it also demands a lot of focus, which is quite nice because the whole team knows like every second counts. And I remember there's like, how do you call this in English? Like for the celebration, they have all these
ribbons, streamers, yeah.
things hanging on the ceiling. And it's in one take, it came down, and the sound guy was with his boom was holding it up because he knew how important it was, so the camera could like turn and then let it fall. So it was really an amazing experience because it's actually a short film within the long film. But I'm really happy that we did it and dared to do it, I think, because it really helps focus people and everybody understands how important it is. And also, in terms, I think we casted mostly theater actors, so they are very used to doing long runs, so that helped.
Does that include the protagonist? Is she a theater actor?
Well, both.
Well,
Yeah.
she was excellent. Please, up the...
I thought you really managed to capture the humanity in the whole movie, and I was just wondering, did you talk to people that have been in this kind of situations before, or like, did you do any study behind actually this case?
Yes. Yeah, I did a lot of research. I have a background in documentary filmmaking, actually. This is my first fiction work. So I'm very used to talk to people and read a lot and talk to so in the Netherlands you have clinics, like end of life clinics, where you have psychiatrists that help you through that process. So I went to these clinics to talk to these psychiatrists, but also I talked to family members of people who have taken their life with this wish, or those people who have this wish. In the Netherlands, you also have like scan doctors, and that's doctors who do like euthanasia. So yeah, we did extensive research, and also I think a lot of anecdotes people told us ended up being scenes in the film, like this sort of scheduler, like they plan the whole thing, like the brother. That's something people do that we found out through the research. So yeah.
We've got.
Sorry, I was just curious about the name of the movie. Why is Pink Moon?
Good question. Pink Moon. It's a sort of reference to the song that he doesn't remember. So Pink Moon is the song of Nick Drake. He's a singer-songwriter from the 70s, and it's one of my father's favorite songs. And Nick Drake took also his own life. So yes.
Can I ask you, because I very much like this song as well, and I was hoping to hear it in the film.
Yes.
Can I ask you whether it was ever going to be in the film and why it's not?
Yeah, it was in the film. It was in the honored end titles, and then because the rights of the song are with the family of Nick Drake, and they said it was okay, and then they wanted to watch the film, and then they said, it's about assisted suicide, we don't really like that. So it was not okay anymore, because in the end, he overdosed, and they say it was an accident, some people say it was suicide, they don't believe it's suicide, so it was very emotional for them, and in the end we couldn't get the song. And then I also actually quite like that the song is not in there, because it's like the open ending, and life doesn't give you all the answers. So in the end it worked out for me, but it was a sad moment when we didn't get the song.
We had a question here.
What was it like filming up in the mountains?
Oh, that was very interesting for me, because there's no mountains in the Netherlands, and there's also no snow in the Netherlands. So that was a new experience for me. I mean, I've been to the mountains, but shooting in the snow. So with this film, we planned to shoot in April. So we chose a very high mountain area in Italy, where there would be definitely snow. Then COVID happened, and it started in the north of Italy, so we couldn't shoot there anymore, and we were delayed for 6 months, I think. And then we shot in November, and we went to search for another mountain area where there was snow. And then we arrived, there was no snow. Next day there was snow, and there was so much snow that we couldn't shoot there anymore because it was dangerous. So me and the snow have a very particular, this relationship is quite tough. But in the end, I mean, it was it's tough in terms of temperature, and that Jan, the actor, he's 72, so we had to think of that, of course. But I mean, we shot it in Slovenia. And it was very nice, like they had the snow scooters and everything, and they brought us from like the warm hut to the set and back. So it was quite a nice adventure in the end. I think it's just, once you do the scene and you walk through the snow, then of course you have your prints in the snow, and you want every time it to be pristine. So then everybody's like making and you're like, oh fuck. So it takes a lot of time, yeah. But it was nice.
Can I confirm that this means that your next film won't be shot in the Icelandic winter?
Well, I arrived today and I took the bus from the airport here, and it looked quite nice up there, I would say. So, I mean, the nature is amazing.
More questions?
Hello. I think the change of emotional reaction of the heroine Iris is quite in the center of the film, and I wonder the process how her emotion changes, is that all the time you decide so, or did you ever change your idea about
her emotional like arc, you mean, like her development through this. Yeah, I mean, we knew that Jan, the father, is like steadfast on his decision and is quite, like from beginning to end, flat in his character development, which is quite unusual in film. And she is just responsive, like her in responding to that actually. So she just bounces up and down, I would say. And yeah, I don't know if we really thought like first it's going to be denial and then this and then this. It was more intuitive that we designed her character arc. And also I am a director, I think, who works early on with actors, so we were still writing the script or finalizing the script when we casted the actors, and we did table readings and rehearsals so they could be involved in creating or shaping the scenes. So also I think Julia, the actress, had a big part in developing the emotional line in that term. Yeah, and in the end, I think because we found the characters and then they become so real, you just know how they respond. There's not much logic in that sense behind it, just intuitive response from my part, I would say. Yeah, and I think once we nailed it, or like once we wrote it down and we felt we grabbed it, it didn't change that much during shooting.
Do we have more questions? Well, maybe I'll ask one last question to wrap up.
Yes.
Can you tell us about what you're working on next and when we can expect to see it in cinemas or on the festival circuit, presuming it's a film?
Yes, well, this film, like the first fiction experience, was very nice for me. So I'm working with the same team, writer and producers, on the next fiction film, which also would be, I think, a tragic comedy kind of thing, family story. But we're early development, so that's going to take a while before it's in cinemas. And I'm also making a documentary again, so multiple projects.
What's the topic of the documentary?
The documentary topic is, so in the Netherlands you have, how you say this, the government apologized to some veterans in the Netherlands who were involved in a UN peace mission in Bosnia, that it was an impossible mission, and they are offered a trip back to Srebrenica to work through their traumas because they were blamed for the genocide and that they didn't do anything and they have huge problems. So I'm going with them on this trip back to see how they deal with their trauma, how they respond to being back in that area.
It sounds suitably light-hearted. No, thank you so much for being here, and thank you everybody for showing up to one of the later screenings, midnight screenings as they've been calling some of them. Can we all thank Flor for the wonderful film?
Thank you.